Welcome to Coffee Meets Culture podcast. I am Yolanda Garner Hutcherson, your lone host driving this culture car. I am fueled by coffee, looking cute, and ready to go. I am a social worker who will be diving in and bringing you weekly content exploring fashion, culture, and social issues impacting people of color through candid conversations with influencers, leaders, and experts. Hello, everybody. My name is Yolanda Garner Hutcherson, and welcome to Coffee Meets Culture podcast. I appreciate you guys stopping in today to see what Coffee Meets Culture is all about. I appreciate it. You know, I wanted to do a introduction to Coffee Meets Culture before I jump into my very first podcast and my first guest, which is going to be an absolute treat. And so I'll get to that a little bit later. But to give you some information on how you can catch up with who is going to be on my first episode. But before I even get to the juicy information, I just wanted to introduce myself. You're coming to Coffee Meets Culture, and you don't know who I am, and hopefully I get a chance to learn a little bit about you guys too as well through my social media platforms. But again, my name is Yolanda. I will be the lone host here on Coffee Meets Culture. And a little bit about Coffee Meets Culture. We are meaning I, am a media brand, and this Coffee Meets Culture is basically about candid conversations about social issues impacting people of color. And that's what it is to me. Okay, I think it's important for us to have a voice. And so I think that's very important in our lives and in our communities and what we bring. And that's what I'm going to be bringing to you guys here on Coffee Meets Culture. So I wanted to give a little bit about myself during this introduction episode. I am a native New Yorker. I live on Long Island, and I have been born and raised born in Hempstead, Long Island, and I currently live here with my husband and my kids. And so I've lived here the majority of my life, but a good chunk of time I spent out of state in North Carolina. So I'll get to that in just a moment. So, out here in Long Island, I come from an entrepreneur family, if you will. My family has owned their own pest control company for over 30 years. And, we no longer have it anymore. But essentially, I have gone from cockroaches to coffee. So, which is a very interesting fact in itself, which is very funny. And me and my brother joke about this all the time. And so, my parents own a pest control company. We kill everything from roaches to rats, bed bugs, you name it. And New York City is a perfect place for any and all things crawling, creepy, rodent, whatever. You got a problem, we handled it. We did handle it. And that's really where I learned my entrepreneur skills, if you will. I was the very first secretary at age of 5, answering the phones, Grand Central exterminating. So that's where I learned all my stuff. My parents, they gave me a very good example on entrepreneurship, how to work hard, trying to, establish something for the family, which is the gift that keeps on giving. And so that's where my family history is from. My dad is one of the first African-American mayors in New York State. He's the very first African-American mayor in Long Island. His name's James Garner. Very proud of him. Shout out to Dad. And so that's where I come from. And so my roots are from North Carolina. My dad is from North Carolina, and my mom is from Virginia. And so Danville, Virginia, and Garrisburg, North Carolina, 2 small towns. But that's where we spend our summers at. Okay, as the New York kids, you get sent down there to hang out with the cousins and the grandparents, and just have a ton of fun. And so all this is really, I'm telling you a little bit about me. All right. So after I finished high school, and I told you guys that I lived in North Carolina, right? And where? When I left high school, I attended North Carolina Central University, which is a HBCU. Shout out to all my HBCU alumni out there, and shout out to all the students who are currently going to an HBCU. North Carolina Central University is in Durham, North Carolina. I got a Bachelor of Science there. And after I graduated, I stayed a little bit in Durham working in healthcare. And then I moved back to New York. All right. And so I ran my parents' company for a little bit before we sold it. And I got my master's in social work at Adelphi University here in Long Island because of my love for helping people. So, but my job currently that I do now, I work in child welfare. I investigate sex abuse cases for children, which y'all, that's a whole story in and of itself. But I absolutely love what I do. And with that, I help children in crisis, help their families, helping children, and going through such a tough time in their lives. And that really is where my love for children and people have really grown. I always love people and children. Ever since I was really like a young girl, my dad will tell you, my parents will tell you that I always wanted to help people. I am a helper at heart. I'm an encourager at heart. And it's so many things. And that is why I love what I do. And so with Coffee Meets Culture, my love for coffee has been, it's been growing. So growing up, even in college, believe it or not, I never drank coffee. I thought that would taste like liquid dirt. And I always laugh at that when I tell people that. But the love for the coffee really sparked when my brother and my sister-in-law opened up their specialty coffee shop in Long Island called Buy Good Coffee. They're no longer here anymore. They are based in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So if you're in the area, this is a cheap and shameless plug. If you're ever in the area, check them out. So the love really for this small cup of goodness really stemmed from me going on the weekends and hanging out in their coffee shop, really having good conversations with the people that were in there, buying stuff, or we'll be sitting there for hours, meeting new people, striking up good conversations, be it about coffee, culture, so many different things, politics and the goings on in the world, and fashion, and so many different topics where I would sit. And that's really where Coffee Meets Culture was born. I love to look, I like to look cute, I look cute. So that's my fashion. And this is what I came up with initially was the t-shirts. So I have shirts, t-shirts, sweatshirts. And that's what I created at first with my Coffee Meets Culture. And then it just blossomed into a media brand. So, I have my shirts as a form of media. I have my podcast, my YouTube, and hopefully when we come out of this pandemic and we all can get together safely and have a good time, then hopefully I'm looking forward to having some meetups and just give that extension of when I used to sit in coffee shops for hours, meeting new people and striking up good conversations. And hopefully I can bring that to you somewhere out there. So, and what I've been doing really lately is going to local coffee shops and sipping on small cups of goodness and really posting it up on my social media. I love meeting new people. I love going to places and traveling. And so hopefully one day I'm able to go throughout the United States first, and then maybe go abroad to other countries and meet other, people and coffee shop owners. And that's what I would love to do. All right. So Coffee Meets Culture, we're going to have on this podcast, we're going to have influencers, we're going to have leaders talking about social issues impacting people of color. And social issues can mean so many different things in our communities. It's so many different things. And I think right now that what's relevant in our time, this is, October 2020. We have the pandemic. We're in the middle of a election season, and that's coming up really soon. Election is November the 3rd. And listen, things can go either way with this thing. It's really heating up, and who will be the next president and vice president of the United States of America. And so we don't know, right? And other issues with voting in our minority communities, healthcare, access to healthcare, and health issues, social justice issues. So with social issues, it could run the gamut, and we're gonna have so many people talking about different things on here. Coffee shop owners talking about where my coffee nerds at, who know like the tech stuff about the coffee and about the brewing and the roasting and things like that. I do not. So I don't own a coffee shop. I do not roast any coffee. I just like to buy it. I like to make it at home, and I like to enjoy it. And that's what I love to do. And so that's it, guys. I just wanted to come in, like I said, and introduce myself. I am super excited and having this conversation with you all. If you're seeing me on YouTube, please drop a comment. Where are you from? What would you like me to cover here on Coffee Meets Culture? It could be food, coffee, social issues, fashion, and I hopefully would be able to bring a little bit of that smorgasbord to you guys here on Coffee Meets Culture. I am super excited about this new chapter in my life, doing new things that I have never done before, speaking here on a podcast. Who would have thought? But I'm super excited. So I thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can catch up with me on social media. I am under Coffee Meets Culture. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Check me out on my website, coffeemeetsculture.com. And I would love for you to stop by and say, hey, drop me a comment, drop me a DM, all right? So I thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on my very first episode. This is the introduction. So I see you on my very first episode with a very special guest. I cannot wait to share this with you guys, okay? You're gonna have to stay posted to my social media. Catch me on Instagram, and you're gonna find out who my next guest is, all right? Talk to you guys soon. Bye.